Take her luggage off the aircraft. Ifunanya Okuri stopped at the bottom of the jet stairs. For a second, she thought she had heard wrong. The engines of the white private jet hummed behind Min-seo, blowing loose strands of the Korean woman's hair across her face. 2 ground crew members stood beside a luggage cart, both suddenly looking as if they wished they were somewhere else. Min-seo pointed toward the black carry-on already loaded into the baggage compartment. Mrs. Okuri will not be traveling with us. Ifunanya looked at her. Then past her. Kwon Ji-hoon stood inside the open aircraft door. Her husband. His expression told her everything before he spoke. Ji-hoon? He stepped down one stair. Ifunanya, there has been a change of plan. A change of plan? This meeting is sensitive. Min-seo and I can handle it. Min-seo gave a small, polished smile. You understand. Ifunanya did not look at her. She kept her eyes on her husband. Is that what you want? Ji-hoon's jaw tightened. We'll discuss this when I return. That was his answer. Not no. Not an apology. Not even. Min-seo, don't speak to my wife that way. Ifunanya nodded once. Understood. She turned around. Behind her, one of the ground crew quietly began removing her luggage. She had taken only 7 steps when the sound changed. The left engine wound down. Then the right. Within seconds, the jet was sitting silent on the tarmac. Ifunanya turned. Ji-hoon came back down the stairs. What happened? Min-seo looked toward the cockpit. The aircraft door opened wider. Captain Ryu Daewon appeared. He descended quickly, ignored Ji-hoon and walked straight toward Ifunanya. His face was serious. Mrs. Okuri. Yes? I need you to answer one question. Everyone was watching now. The pilot stopped in front of her. Did you personally approve this aircraft for departure? Ifunanya frowned. No. Ryu stared at her. Are you certain? I haven't signed off on this aircraft. The pilot turned toward Ji-hoon. Then nobody is flying anywhere. The silence that followed was heavier than the engines had been. Ji-hoon walked toward them. What are you talking about? Captain Ryu lifted the tablet beneath his arm. This aircraft had a maintenance problem after yesterday's inspection. Our system says it was cleared this morning. So? Ryu looked at Ifunanya. The approval carries your wife's name. Min-seo spoke immediately. Then she approved it. No, Ifunanya said. Min-seo turned toward her. The system says you did? And I am telling you I didn't? Min-seo gave a tiny shrug. Perhaps you forgot. Ifunanya slowly turned her head. Forgot? People make mistakes. Ji-hoon looked at his wife. Ifunanya, are you sure you didn't clear it remotely? That hurt more than Min-seo's insult. Ifunanya stared at him. You're asking me? I'm trying to understand what happened. No. You're asking whether I remember putting my professional name on an aircraft I never inspected. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. Captain Ryu stepped between them. I don't care who approved what until we verify it. The aircraft stays grounded. Min-seo folded her arms. We have people waiting for us in Tokyo. And they'll keep waiting. Captain Ryu, this is Mr. Kwon's aircraft. Ryu finally looked at her. In the air, I am the captain. It is not moving. Ifunanya caught the smallest change in Min-seo's face. Not fear. Annoyance. Then it disappeared. Ifunanya, Ji-hoon said. Come inside. We'll sort this out. She shook her head. No. What? You wanted me off the aircraft 5 minutes ago. That was before this happened. Exactly. She looked at Captain Ryu. Send me the maintenance record. Then she walked toward the hangar. Ji-hoon followed. Ifunanya. She kept walking. Ifunanya, stop. She did. They were far enough away that Min-seo could no longer hear them. Ji-hoon lowered his voice. What Min-seo did back there was inappropriate. Ifunanya almost laughed. Inappropriate? I'll deal with her. Why did she think she could do it? He frowned. What? Why did your employee believe she had the authority to remove your wife from your aircraft? She overstepped. That doesn't answer me. We have a business meeting, and I oversee aviation safety. You've been reducing your involvement. Ifunanya stared at him. I have? Ji-hoon hesitated. Interesting. According to whom? This is not the time. Min-seo? He said nothing. Ifunanya's expression changed. She has been discussing my work with you. She discusses every division with me. My professional judgment? Sometimes. And what exactly has she been saying? Ji-hoon exhaled. That you've become overly cautious. Ifunanya stared at him. Overly cautious. Those were not my words. But you listened. The company cannot ground an aircraft every time someone feels uncomfortable. Ifunanya stepped closer. Aircraft do not care about your schedule, your revenue, or Min-seo's opinion of me. Something is safe, or it isn't. I know that. Do you? Yes. Then why did you ask whether I forgot approving this one? Ji-hoon's expression hardened. I asked a question, and I heard the answer underneath it. She walked away. This time, he did not follow. 20 minutes later, Ifunanya sat beside Captain Ryu in the maintenance office. The approval was on the screen. Her name. Her employee number. Her authorization. Everything looked legitimate. Except she had never made it. When was this entered? She asked. 6:12 this morning. I was at home. Ryu nodded. I know. Ifunanya looked at him. You believe me? You've grounded aircraft I wanted to fly. That doesn't answer the question. You're irritatingly careful. Despite herself, she almost smiled. Ryu pointed at the screen. I've disagreed with you. I've never known you to put your name on something you didn't inspect. Ifunanya searched her recent records. Then stopped. There was another approval. And another. 3 aircraft. 3 maintenance decisions. All carrying her name. Her stomach tightened. The second had been approved while she was outside Korea. The third had happened on a day she had spent inside a government inspection facility. Someone had not used her name once. They had been doing it for months. Ryu became very quiet. If regulators find this, I know. They'll come to you first. I know. Who can access approvals at your level? Ifunanya stared at the screen. Only a few people. One of them was her husband. By late afternoon, Ji-hoon found her outside the operations suite. Tokyo has been moved. Good. The jet is being inspected. Good. I told Min-seo she had no authority to remove you. Ifunanya stopped. Thank you for correcting your mistress. Ji-hoon's face went still. For the first time that day, he looked frightened. What did you say? Ifunanya looked at him. She had planned to wait. Suddenly, she didn't care. Do you know what people in long marriages learn? He said nothing. The small things. Ifunanya. The way you touch your watch when you're nervous. The way you rub your ring when you're hiding something. The fact that you cannot sleep on a plane until you count backward from 50. His eyes changed. I taught you that after your panic attack over the Pacific. He swallowed. Min-seo knows about it. Silence. She joked about it last week. Ifunanya, listen to me. So tell me. It isn't what you think. That's unfortunate, because what I think is that my husband has been sleeping with the woman who ordered me off his aircraft while he watched. He looked away. That was enough. How long? It wasn't supposed to happen. That isn't a length of time. Several months. Something inside her went still. Before or after she started telling you I was bad at my job? Ji-hoon looked at her. This has nothing to do with your work. It has everything to do with my work. No. Someone has been approving aircraft under my name. His expression changed. What? 3 that I know of. That's impossible. I thought so too. Ji-hoon followed her into the systems office. Ifunanya pulled up Min-seo's access permissions. Min-seo had been granted executive access to the aviation division 4 months earlier. The approval came from Ji-hoon. Ifunanya pointed to it. You gave her access. I gave her oversight. You gave her access to my department. She told me there were delays. She told you the company was losing money. And instead of asking your safety director why aircraft were being delayed, you went around her. I did not give Min-seo permission to approve anything under your name. I haven't said she did. Then what are you accusing her of? Ifunanya looked at him. That's interesting. What? You're already defending her. I'm asking for evidence. But you didn't ask for evidence when she told you I was too emotional to make safety decisions. Ji-hoon said nothing. That night, Ifunanya stayed at the aviation offices. She found the connection shortly before midnight. Every aircraft approved under her name had avoided an expensive delay. One needed a part replaced. Another should have missed a charter. The third was the aircraft Min-seo and Ji-hoon had tried to take to Tokyo. Each time a delay disappeared, Min-seo's operations numbers improved. Each time, Ifunanya's name took responsibility. It was elegant. If regulators eventually questioned the decisions, the record would point to Ifunanya. And Min-seo could stand safely beside Ji-hoon and say, I warned you about her. The next morning, Ifunanya went directly to Min-seo's office. Min-seo looked up from her desk. You have no authority to walk in here. Ifunanya closed the door. You had no authority to order me off the jet. Min-seo smiled faintly. If this is about Ji-hoon. It isn't. That wiped away the smile. Ifunanya placed 3 flight numbers on the desk. Do you recognize these? No. All 3 avoided expensive maintenance delays. I run operations. Aircraft fly. That is generally the objective. All 3 were cleared under my name. Min-seo leaned back. Then perhaps you cleared them. I didn't. Then you should speak to IT. Ifunanya watched her. Min-seo was too calm. If someone used my name, I'll find them. Min-seo's smile returned. You should be careful. Why? Because accusing other people when your own name is on the record can look desperate. There it was. Not a confession. A warning. Ifunanya stood. Min-seo's voice followed her. I know this is difficult for you. Ifunanya turned. What is? Realizing he chooses me when you aren't there. For the first time, anger flickered across Ifunanya's face. Min-seo saw it and smiled. You think this is about taking your husband? Isn't it? No. Min-seo leaned forward. Your problem is that you still believe being his wife makes you important. Ifunanya said nothing. Ji-hoon wants growth. Expansion. Speed. You give him warnings. Restrictions. Delays. I keep his aircraft in the air. You keep them on the ground. And that bothers you. It bothers him. That landed exactly where Min-seo wanted it to. Ifunanya left without answering. By noon, the attack came. Her access card stopped working. Ifunanya tried the door to the maintenance control room again. Red light. Denied. She looked at the security guard. What happened? He looked uncomfortable. I'm sorry, Mrs. Okri. Open the door. I can't. Why? A voice behind her answered. Because your access has been suspended. Min-seo. She walked down the corridor with 2 executives beside her. Ifunanya looked at her. You suspended me? Mr. Kwon did. Ifunanya turned slowly. Ji-hoon was approaching from the opposite end of the corridor. Her husband stopped several feet away. Ifunanya. What did you do? There needs to be an independent investigation. You locked me out of my own department. 3 questionable approvals carry your credentials. Which is exactly why I am investigating them. Min-seo spoke softly. And that is exactly why you should not have access while the investigation is active. Ifunanya ignored her. She looked at Ji-hoon. You agreed to this? Temporarily. How temporary? Until we know what happened. You know I didn't approve those aircraft. I believe you may not have. Ifunanya stared at him. May not have? Ji-hoon glanced toward the employees watching from nearby offices. Not here. No. Here is perfect. Ifunanya. You let your mistress throw me off your aircraft yesterday. His face tightened. And today you're letting her throw me out of my department. Min-seo's expression changed. People were listening. Ji-hoon lowered his voice. This is a professional decision. No. Ifunanya removed the identification card from her neck. This is what professional erasure looks like. She held it up. First you stop asking me why I disagree with you. Ji-hoon said nothing. Then you give someone else access to my work. She looked at Min-seo. Then my name appears on decisions I never made. Back to Ji-hoon. And when I try to prove it, you take away my ability to investigate. I am protecting the integrity of the process. You're protecting yourself from choosing. She handed the useless access card to the security guard. Then walked out. For the first time since the story began, Min-seo had won. Completely. By evening, rumors had spread. Ifunanya had been suspended. Safety irregularities were under investigation. 3 aircraft approvals carried her name. People who had once come to her for decisions stopped answering calls. One aviation partner postponed a meeting. Another asked whether her certification was under review. Min-seo had not simply taken her place beside Ji-hoon. She was taking her name. Ifunanya sat alone in her apartment staring at her laptop. She could no longer enter the company system. She could no longer inspect the internal records. And without access, she could not prove anything. Her phone rang. Captain Ryu. She answered. You shouldn't be calling me. Probably not. They suspended me. I heard. Everyone heard. Ryu was quiet for a moment. Then he said, Come to the old training hangar. Why? Because you're looking in the wrong place. 40 minutes later, Ifunanya found him standing beside an aircraft simulator with 3 printed flight releases. She frowned. I can't use internal company records. These aren't internal. What are they? My personal flight copies. He handed them over. I keep every flight release I sign. Ifunanya looked at him. That's obsessive. I fly machines full of people. Obsessive is useful. She studied the documents. Each release contained the time the aircraft was cleared. Nothing new. Then Ryu pointed to a handwritten notation. What is that? Every captain is required to call maintenance control when a major discrepancy is cleared shortly before departure. Ifunanya looked up. You called? Every time. Who answered? That is the part one remembered. He pointed to his notes. On the first questionable flight, the person who confirmed Ifunanya's approval had identified herself as Min-seo's operations assistant. The second time, the call had been transferred from Min-seo's office. Yesterday, Captain Ryu had been told that Ifunanya personally cleared the aircraft. Who told you that? Ryu looked at her. Min-seo. That was simpler than any computer token. A human voice. A pilot who heard it. A paper trail outside Min-seo's control. Ifunanya looked at the 3 releases. She made one mistake. What? She thought every record belonged to the company. Ryu nodded. And these belonged to me. The next morning, Ji-hoon sat in his office while Min-seo stood beside him. Ifunanya has been contacting staff despite the suspension, Min-seo said. Ji-hoon looked tired. What staff? Captain Ryu. What for? I don't know. But this is exactly what I warned you about. She is emotional. Ji-hoon looked up. Min-seo continued. She is trying to build a case because she discovered our relationship. Something in Ji-hoon's face changed. Our relationship has nothing to do with the aircraft. It has everything to do with how she is behaving. Does it? Min-seo paused. He leaned back. You told Captain Ryu yesterday that Ifunanya had cleared the aircraft. Min-seo recovered quickly. Because the system showed her approval. You didn't say the system showed it. You told him she had personally cleared it. It was a figure of speech. Ji-hoon stared at her. For the first time, suspicion entered his face. But it came too late. The door opened. Ifunanya walked in with Captain Ryu. Min-seo turned. You're suspended. Ifunanya looked at Ji-hoon. Am I allowed to speak, or does she make that decision too? Ji-hoon stood. What did you find? Ifunanya placed the 3 flight releases on his desk. Something she couldn't delete. Min-seo stepped forward. What is this? Captain Ryu answered. My records. Ifunanya pointed to the first release. When the first aircraft was cleared under my name, Captain Ryu called maintenance control. Second. When the second was cleared, he called again. Third. And yesterday. She looked at Min-seo. Every questionable approval passed through your office. That proves nothing. Ryu spoke. Yesterday, you personally told me Mrs. Okri had approved the aircraft. I repeated what the system showed. No. His voice was calm. You said you had spoken with her. Min-seo went still. Ifunanya looked at Ji-hoon. I never spoke to her. Min-seo shook her head. He remembers incorrectly. Ryu placed his phone on the desk. I record operational calls. Silence. Min-seo stared at him. For safety review. He pressed play. Min-seo's voice filled the room. Clear. Controlled. Mrs. Okri reviewed the discrepancy herself. You are cleared to depart. The recording ended. Nobody spoke. Ji-hoon looked at Min-seo. Did you fabricate the approvals? No. Did you use my wife's name? No. Ifunanya, Min-seo said quickly. You don't understand what was happening. That was the first real crack. Ifunanya heard it. So explain. Min-seo looked at Ji-hoon. You wanted the aircraft moving. I wanted safe aircraft moving. You complained every week about delays. I never told you to falsify anything. You didn't have to. Ji-hoon's face hardened. Min-seo continued. You wanted results. I gave you results? With my wife's name attached to the risk. Min-seo laughed bitterly. Your wife was the risk. Ifunanya said nothing. Min-seo turned toward her. She was destroying the division. By stopping unsafe aircraft? By stopping everything. Ji-hoon stared at Min-seo. You told me she was becoming unstable. She was. You told me she was making emotional decisions. She was costing us millions. You were sleeping with me while convincing me my wife was incompetent. Min-seo's face tightened. She was already losing you. Ifunanya looked at Ji-hoon. That sentence hurt because either of them denied it. Min-seo saw the opening and kept going. She never understood you. Ji-hoon's voice became cold. Stop. I did what you needed. You committed fraud. For you. No. For the company. No. You wanted someone who could make decisions instead of hiding behind regulations. Ji-hoon looked at her. I wanted someone who could improve operations. That's what I did. You framed my wife. Min-seo's eyes flashed. Because no matter what I did, she still had something I didn't. Ifunanya finally spoke. My husband? Min-seo looked at her. No. A beat. His trust. Ifunanya almost laughed. You already took that. The room went quiet. That line hit Ji-hoon harder than anyone else. Min-seo looked at him. You trusted me because I gave you what you wanted. Ji-hoon's face collapsed. Because she was right. He had not ordered the fraud. He had not known about the false approvals. But he had built the road that led to them. He had rewarded the person who gave him convenient answers. He had punished the woman who gave him difficult truths. Security, he said. 2 men entered. Min-seo stared at him. Ji-hoon, take her access card. You cannot do this. He didn't answer. Ji-hoon! The guards escorted her out. The door closed. Captain Ryu quietly picked up his flight releases. I think my part is done. He left. Now only husband and wife remained. Ji-hoon looked at Ifunanya. I'm sorry. She said nothing. I should never have suspended you. No. I should never have doubted you. No. I should never have given her that kind of access. No. He looked at her helplessly. Then tell me what to say. Ifunanya shook her head. That's your problem. What? You keep looking for someone else to tell you the right answer. He went still. Min-seo lied to you. Yes. But you made me easy to lie about. His eyes lowered. I know. No. Now you know what she did. Ifunanya stepped closer. You still don't fully understand what you did. I betrayed you. Before you slept with her. He looked up. The affair came later. Ifunanya. You betrayed me every time my expertise became inconvenient, and you chose the easier answer. He swallowed. You betrayed me when another woman told you I was emotional and you never once asked why I was worried. She pointed toward the office door. You betrayed me when you let her order me off that jet. His face tightened. And you betrayed me again when you locked me out of the department I spent years protecting because believing me would have forced you to admit you had been wrong. Ji-hoon had no defense left. Ifunanya reached into her bag. She placed her company identification card on his desk. He stared at it. What are you doing? Resigning. No. She looked at him. No? You've been cleared. I know. I'll restore everything. I don't want it restored. Ifunanya, this is your division. It was. You built it. And then you showed me exactly how little that meant when my judgment became inconvenient. We can change the structure. She shook her head. You still think this is about a company? He stepped closer. We can repair our marriage. She looked at him for a long moment. Maybe you can repair an aircraft by replacing the failed part. She glanced through the office glass toward the hangar. People aren't aircraft. Then she picked up her bag. Ji-hoon's voice cracked. I love you. She stopped. For 1 second, he thought she might turn. She didn't. I believe you. That hurt him more than if she had said she didn't. Then she walked away. Months later, Captain Ryu stood beneath the wing of a business jet, while Ifunanya studied an inspection report. A new name was painted across the glass wall behind them. Okuri Aviation Safety Consulting. Ryu looked over her shoulder. You're grounding it. The pressure reading is inconsistent. Barely. Would you like to fly it? No. Then stop complaining. I enjoy complaining. Ifunanya smiled. Her receptionist approached. Someone is here to see you. Ifunanya looked toward the entrance. Kwon Ji-hoon stood there. No entourage. No flowers. No expensive gift. Just him. Ryu followed her eyes. Want me to ground him? That was terrible. I've been waiting months to use it. Go away. Ryu left laughing. Ji-hoon approached slowly. You look well. I am. His eyes moved around the hangar. You built all this. I had help. He nodded. There was silence. Then he said, I came to tell you something. If it's about Min-seo, I don't care. It isn't. Ifunanya waited. I spent months thinking the worst thing I did was the affair. She said nothing. It wasn't. Now she looked at him. I stopped respecting the thing about you that once made me trust you most. What? That you would tell me the truth even when I didn't want it. Ifunanya's expression softened slightly. Ji-hoon continued. Min-seo didn't create that weakness in me. He looked down. She found it. Silence. I'm not asking you to come home. Good. I'm not asking you to forgive me. Also good. I just wanted you to know that I finally understand. Ifunanya nodded. Thank you. Ji-hoon turned toward the exit. Then stopped. Can I ask one thing? You already are. A faint smile appeared. Can I see you again? Ifunanya studied him. Another conversation? Yes. She considered it. Then nodded once. Another conversation isn't the same as another chance, Ji-hoon. I know. Do you? He met her eyes. This time, I do. Ifunanya watched him leave. Outside, an aircraft engine started. She picked up her clipboard and walked toward the jet waiting for inspection. Nobody had to tell her where she belonged anymore. She had built the place herself.